Asteroid of fear.
Welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. Yeah, Richard coming at you here. It's Sunday night, getting ready for this Monday drop, the Monday weekend recap, I guess you could say. Yeah, let's go in about that. Let me see, I did a weekly recap, and that one dropped Saturday. So, what was Saturday like for us? It was fairly chill in the morning. And then OT decided they were going to come. So, and then I was trying to attend book club at like 11:30, about the same time OT was going to come. So it was going to work out actually perfect because that meant Buck would be occupied while I was in book club. So I got him up about 10:15, roughly an hour before, hour and 15 minutes, so we could do our morning routine, get him some breakfast and everything, get him set up and ready to go. And uh, book club started, and OT actually showed up just a tad after they said they were going to. Not a big deal, because book club always kind of gets off to the beginning is, it's typical of Zoom meetings, making sure everybody is kind of on the same page. People are muted who need to be muted, and when they're co-hosting meetings, it's definitely who's got the controls, who doesn't, etc. So it wasn't fully 100% started by the time he came, and then yeah, that worked out. But it kind of, for them to go through their whole routine, it's not a full hour. Maybe it's 30, 35 minutes. And during this process of book club, my mom also texts that she's on the way to either drop off stuff. My wife and daughter went out of town for Thanksgiving, so my wife came over, or my mom came over. She grabs like my daughter's blankets, comforters, all that jazz, and takes it home and washes it because the house we're at, the the like it's got some weird sort of thing with the washer, like it leaks water into the garage unless you like run the hot water in the kitchen sink like 30 minutes before you're gonna start the washer. Some weird ass shit. Like, you know, how you figure this stuff out that you need to tap it twice on the side, three times on the top, run the water for 30 minutes, and it won't leak into the garage. So, anywho, my mom will come and grab my daughter's blankets, comforters, and her laundry because, you know, my daughter's the youngest. She's the special one in the Latino family. And, you know, so she's the one that gets to eat what she wants, wear what she wants, all rightfully so. We were all the baby at some point and got the spoilage. But that's not something I would want her to feel guilty about. So if you hear this, baby, it is okay. You deserve it. And yeah, she came over to do that. And I had ended up because, OT's going out, she's coming in, they're wanting to move cars, and then I get sucked into helping make my daughter's bed, fresh sheets and comforters and all that. And my mom's kind of like, "Are you sure there's nothing you want to do?" I'm like, "Well, if you want to stay, then I'll go ahead and get my exercise in, even though I can now get it in with Buck, as long as he's awake here, because I don't want to leave him um, when he's not awake, and then he wakes up and needs me. So, went ahead and got my walk in, and then I don't know what we did. We kind of did our routine. I mean, the routine is kind of built around him waking up, morning stuff, breakfast, maybe OTPT, hang out, protein shake, maybe nap, and then ice cream, 4 to 4:30, and then maybe 6:37ish we have dinner. But yeah, he took a nap. OT wore him out. He had that. Um, and so yeah, I just got him to eat, do the thing, and then oh yeah, that was last night. Yesterday, just kind of chilled, watched TV. All wanted to go to bed early, which we kind of did, but then I want to say he woke me up for something or wanted the TV to continue to be on. It was Saturday night. There was something he wanted to watch. So I would typically go to bed. I kind of stayed up and put on some shows. I tried to watch Peaky Blinders, maybe got through an episode or two and not even full attention on it. I have no idea. Oh, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Can always watch that as I dozed off. Yeah. And then we had today where kind of the same. Wake up, wait for him to wake up while I do my routine, and we do our morning routine. He had breakfast. Um, while he's eating breakfast, I do kettlebells, push ups, resistance bands. And then once I got him finished, I was like, okay, I'm going to go for a walk. I go for a walk. What was that today? Oh, yeah. And I told my mom, I was like, well, if you come, because she took some more blankets and was coming back. Um, so, yeah, she was here when I got done with my walk, and Buck was asleep. She's like, you need a haircut. She's like, here's my card. Merry Christmas. So, Daddy's got his hair cleaned up. Hadn't had a haircut since October 11th, the day before I got Buck out of rehab, which was October 12th, and started this journey. Yeah, I had a little moment at the barber shop where I almost cut the man bun off. Almost went back to short hair. The only thing is, if you go back to short hair, then I'm gonna have to get it cut every 2 to 3 weeks to keep it looking nice and neat and normal. Where when you have a man bun, doesn't matter if it gets long, messy, it's just part of it. Which brings us up till now. I mean, I got to run some errands, got a haircut, and then showered, got cleaned up, fed Buck some dinner. We were waiting, my wife and daughter, to come home. She just called while I was doing this, so I know they're about 3 hours away. They're just leaving, dragging their feet. Gonna put them home late, which means my daughter's gonna kick and scream in the morning, tell my wife, no, I told you. I told you so. You know, you have to think ahead. But lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. Sometimes it's hard to tell hard headed people things. We go through this every time. Every time we go out of town or she goes out of town, it's always my point of contention, my pain point is what time we leave. It's like she's got to see everyone before she leaves, and it typically ends up being late. Get the day started late, and then get to leaving late, which means you get home late. Not the best when you have an early morning, but like I said, when they're ready to change, they'll change. Just like me. When I got sick of my own shit, I was ready to change. And speaking of change, that's kind of what I've been working on a lot this weekend. Is yourpeakperformancepartner.com, giving that a lot of thought. Um, I am over halfway done with my coaching course on becoming a transformational coach. And so I'm just doubling down on all the learning I can do here in December. Today is well, by the time this drops, it'll be day 2 of December, but recording this on day 1, it's the first day of the last month of the year, the last month of the quarter. If you're running quarters like this on a calendar year, not some weird fiscal year like ours that used to run July to June. Yeah, I've been giving it a lot of thought over the weekend, how I'm going to transition this podcast into that one. I'll have to be ready. I still have to continue to tell my story. I still got um, Caregiving Chronicles bug stories, so I don't know if all that's going to go on in the month of December, or I'm going to start doing peak performance podcast type solo episodes and maybe ease myself back into interviewing. Um, I haven't 100% decided. That's kind of what I've been thinking about. I've been feeling overwhelmed as I got 30 days to get a lot of shit done. Finish a website, 2 coaching courses, get a couple coaching clients to coach for free. Um, yeah, you name it. I gotta do it and keep myself on task. Keep my calories low. Man, I had them dialed in yesterday, and then like 9:30 at night. I feel like it was when I got up to maybe turn off Buck's light, and he didn't want it, and I was ready to go to bed. And so when I walked out, I think because he was going to stay up longer, I think I ate something and I shouldn't have. Then when I turned off his light, I was kind of hungry. I had something left over that I was kind of eyeing. And I was like, oh, I think I'm going to have that. So then I end up having like an open faced breakfast sandwich with sausage, bacon, and gravy. Late ass, like 10:30, 11. At least it was like Oro wheat keto bread with, 100 calories for 2 slices, at least 10 grams of protein, I want to say. But yeah, I got to keep that shit in check. Late night, I get the sweet tooth, the wanting something sour. I don't even know if you can consider it stress eating. Why would all your stress be at the end of the day? Doesn't make sense. Or is it just lack of willpower because I'm tired and it's the end of the day? I don't know, but I'm going to get to the bottom of it and correct it. 100%. I can do this. I've quit harder things, done harder things, so I can keep the macros in check. I don't know what I've been anxiety ridden and stressed about lately, other than maybe something internal, maybe something, all these things, worried about XYZ, trying to start a business, trying to complete 3 courses, recording and launching and uploading and editing episodes for 3 a week, taking care of a 97-year-old veteran who isn't 100% there all the time. Trying to keep myself, yeah, on track, going. I was thinking about this right before I hit record is, I've mentioned this in some of the other episodes. If I did not have my daily tasks, my daily checklist, my things to work around, I would be directionless. And I thought about this time in my routine, and it reminds me of a period in Florida when I was going to college, working, like playing guitar, having a lot of fun. And it was because I felt like I was on the way elsewhere. And I focused on the habits that were going to get me there, which was part of college, working out. I just did the things I enjoyed, played guitar. I was cooking at that time. And so that was something I did. I didn't really feel like it was a job. It was just somewhere I went 3 days a week and did that. But everything was focused around, my day was designed around, I'd wake up whenever, 10, 11, maybe work out, or depending if I had classes, go into work at like 3 or 4, work till 11, get off, hang out half the night, maybe drink some, maybe smoke some, play guitar, study, just depending on if I was in school or not. But, it was the things I loved were like playing guitar, going to the beach, working out, did a lot of that. When I wasn't doing that, I was reading, doing other stuff, sitting out on the patio. Just kind of like the Navy. It wasn't about the 12 hours you were doing your job. You're already on the boat. It was about all the other shit you did in the 12 hours. Were you cutting cards for exercising? Were you, working out in addition to? Were you working towards your wings or this or that, the other? You had barely just enough time to do a few extras. That's kind of how this period is. It's not about me taking care of Buck. That's a given. And it can happen at any time, like 12:30 at night, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. It's happened. It's about all the other things I focus on during the day. So maybe, yeah, I think if you can incorporate your job into that when you're trying to change something, hey, your job is just kind of a place you go for some people. But it's like, hey, if I'm going to focus on 30 minutes of learning, whether it's on your lunch break, your way to school, your way home, your way to the gym, you're going to listen to a podcast. Maybe that's learning centric. You're going to work out, you know, or if your employment is enjoyable and something you enjoy, kind of like mine is all related to e-commerce, social media, podcasting, coaching. It's online. I have to be online. I have to do it for myself. So some of the things I do are for that. But, it's like, hey, if you have a couple things at work that's like, well, what are the 2 or 3 non-negotiables? That's what I used to do in healthcare was I would put the 3 things I must do today. And so my challenge was always to get those done during those hours. And then I had a list of other stuff that could always be done. But, in management, anything with paperwork, it never ends. You just keep getting more paperwork. You can get the pile down to nothing, but it eventually comes back. It's never ending. But yeah, those are the kinds of things I want to talk about, like in peak performance, is I know what having daily habits and things to focus are for me. So I think this same process will apply to whoever wants to use it. And the beauty of it is when you're tired, when you don't feel like it, any of the above, it's there so you can trust the process and not how you're feeling that day. You can look at that and know exactly what you need to get accomplished. Like I said, it's the one stable thing in my life because I have no idea what's going on. A lot of jobs I've had are like that, and I kind of like that. I don't know when Buck's going to need me. Like I said, 2 in the morning sometimes. So you're focused on everything else. With the restaurants, you didn't know if it was going to be busy. Kind of had to take it as it comes. Working in an emergency room, level 1 trauma center. Sometimes it's crazy, sometimes it's not. In the military, you don't know when you're going to have a man overboard drill, general quarters, and so it's kind of like having your things that you can go back to kind of anchor you. But yeah, I'm learning. I'm starting to learn that some of the most enjoyable times in my life when I felt like things gelled, they kind of had those components of I was in these jobs that had this kind of unexpected, who knows what's going to happen when it's going to happen. But my anchor was my non negotiable daily habits, my other things I was focusing on, whether it was schoolwork, learning a song, getting to jam, getting a workout in, all those things, studying. So it was kind of like one thing didn't get too much, I guess, attention in a way. And that was helpful for me. Maybe it made me feel like I was getting a lot done, but I think I was actually getting a lot done just like I am now. Because even when it doesn't seem like it, I can look at my habit tracker and go, wow, you got a lot done, regardless of how you felt, how you this, how you that. You can look at it and know, hey, he's getting the work in. And you get closer every day you do the work. Every day I check off 15 minutes of learning. I was doing 15 of learning, 15 of like the Udemy course. Now I'm doing 45 of learning. Bumped up my exercise to 45. But all those add up. And so even that's how I got through over half the course was just doing the daily, whether it was 15 or now 45. So you got to do the daily actions. But that's what we're going to be talking about and doing on yourpeakperformancepartner.com and the podcast that will accompany it. Be talking about things like this, talking to people who have habits, who optimize themselves, what they do, have some tips. Because there's 1,000 ways to do things. But whether it was like quitting drinking for me, um, there's so many different podcasts and stuff. But when you hear one that clicks and works for you, whether it's a certain person, that's how it worked for me. It's when your time is right. That's, you know, and if there's 1,000 ways to do things or tips that make you better, they got to be sustainable. Maybe somebody has one that's a time saver that's sustainable and works for you. Because we're all so different. We all think differently. We all get things differently, but that's kind of the beauty of it is, man, if we were all the same, it'd be kind of boring. But then it also connects us to rely on each other and to accept others' gifts just as others should accept ours and be those helping hands for one another. So, yeah, you got to find what resonates with you, be it a mentor, a coach, accountability partner. It works the same if you're seeing a therapist. You got to find one that you gel with and that works for you. Maybe it's the way they say something. Maybe it's their demeanor. Maybe it's their confidence. Um, maybe they have the life you want. You know, I'm not at a place of, I don't have $1 million house and things like that, but I do have some of what people want, which is some clarity and a life designed around the things that are important to me. I'm not doing things I don't want to do for people I don't like or could care less what they think. So we probably have something in common there. Yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, you want help doing anything, going to the next level, figuring out something about yourself, something you want to change. Maybe you want a whole life transformation. Maybe you're just not happy. And, I can tell, like I had this thought today, with what I'm trying to do in terms of coaching and podcasting, everything I do, the only difference now is when I'm doing that, maybe I'll be taking less courses and having more calls. But the interesting thing is that even if I were a millionaire, my company was fully developed and I was a multimillionaire. Let's make it billionaire. Let's make it Brazilian. How many ever that is. Um, the habits wouldn't change. I would still have to do the same things every day. I would still want to learn for 45 minutes. I would still want to exercise for 45 minutes. I would still need to have these meaningful conversations to gain clients. I would still be interested in how many listens. I would still be posting. I would still be researching. So, literally, it wouldn't feel any different. Wouldn't be any different. Maybe I would be in a different house. Maybe I would drive a different car. Maybe I would have a new iMac. But the point is that I'm doing what I enjoy doing, this process, and what I continue to plan to do, and minus the money aspect, thinking like, oh, you want to build it into this and this money is going to change everything. It's not. The money will change nothing other than what I can afford. Maybe to buy back time, maybe to bring greater things, maybe to help more people. Yeah, it changes everything that way. But in terms of what I would be doing on the daily, my habits, what I do for what I plan to do on this as a business and as a coach and helping people, none of the habits surrounding that would change. I would still have to do all the same things I've been doing for the past, wow, I started group coaching in the summer and moved on to business coaching. after 90 days. So, yeah, everything would be the same. So, think about that, how it relates to you, what you're going for, where you're at, what you're doing for an occupation, what you think money will solve, etc. That's probably a little taste of your peak performance partner, something like that. Because you're going to come to me to make a change or a transformation. And it's always, if I only had this or only had that, or when this lines up, I'll do it. No, you just got to do it. You just got to get uncomfortable, take messy action, and just start and figure it the fuck out along the way. But if you're unhappy, there's a reason. Maybe you have your dream job. Maybe you make enough money. Maybe you're just not overly thrilled with what you see when you look back in the mirror. I mean, I'm not where I want to be, but that's what keeps me going to get where I want to be. But I've come a long way. I can acknowledge that at least. But there's something. And maybe there's a way I have of looking at it, motivating you, figuring out what your hang up is that gets you to finally say, fuck it. I'm tired of being unhappy with this and I want to change it. I was in a position where I had to change, where I was probably going to lose my life, my wife, my daughter, my marriage, everything. I just started slow, one thing at a time, subtracting some things, swapping out bad shit for good shit. It wasn't perfect, still isn't, still a work in progress. But I definitely understand the struggle, so that's what you'll get. Somebody who's open and honest, authentic, transparent, and I'll try to help you the best I can. I've done a lot of shit for myself. I'm now gotten down to one prescription. So, yeah, 56 pounds lost, 9 prescriptions to one, well over 500 days of no alcohol, from laid off to having had a podcast for 16 months, having reached 100 episodes. I'm consistent at nothing else. I'll always show up. That's what I can do for you. I'll always show up. So you can count on me. That sounds interesting to you, then hit me up. If it sounds maybe like it'd be good for someone else, hit me up on their behalf. Have them hit me up. Um, my friend, I wouldn't say friends, my family probably didn't support me 100% when I was going through change. They don't necessarily believe you. Sometimes you need people from the outside. That was exactly what Hunter, Amber, and everybody at the Podcast Connection Network did for me, was they saw more in me than even the people around me. And it wasn't until I made some changes and people could see them and they saw that I was sticking to it because I was consistent, that everybody's like, oh, I guess this is for real. And then everybody kind of switched their view on the podcast and supporting me, and from thinking it was a dumb idea, a pipe dream, to, oh, he's doing this and he's sticking with it. So if you need to go outside of your circle, who may not 100% believe in you, that's where I come in. There's a circle over here you can step into. It's a safe circle. And then once you hit a certain point, and you're doing it to it, reaching your goals and actually changing or transforming, then those people in your circle will go, oh, wow. Or maybe they won't no longer be in your circle, and that's okay too. That should not be a reason not to change. So, it's day 2 of the month, day 2 of the last month of the end of the year, 2024. It's been a wild one with growth for me. I'm ready to finish it out strong, hit 2025 even stronger, make 2025 5 times, maybe 100 times better than 2024. 2024 was a year transformation to me. So, still got a month to go. But hopefully, I'll be starting off 2025 in a much better mental space, confidence space, self worth space from all the growth that I've had the past 11 months. It's been astronomical. That way, I can continue to grow and help those around me grow or anyone who wants my help. All right. Until next time, go out and be the person that you would want to meet.
Asteroid of fear.